Hey guys, Sublord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the collector edition Hellboy from Darkhorse Comics and, of course, the fine folks over at McFarlane Toys. Surprising to see this, especially after a Boss Fight Studios Hellboy went up for pre-order quite some time before this one did, if I'm not mistaken. But we all know the Todd Father has a much quicker turnaround, so this guy came out about a month and a half, 2 months after he went up for pre-order. People were probably getting him before that, but I got mine from Big and a Bad Toy Store, which is where I get a lot of stuff, obviously, because, as a friend of mine once said, screw toy hunting. I don't know what people's deal with the thrill of the hunt with is in this day and age where everything's a pain in the butt to find, and unless you live in certain areas, you ain't gonna get them exclusives. So more power to you, but I'm a pass on that. That said, I do hope this guy hits retail for anyone who misses out on him, and it also gives me a chance to try and get the chase. I want the chase with the horns and the sword and the fire crown and stuff. I would have bought it from BBTS, but they had it marked up for almost $60, and I was like, no. So, with that being said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get into the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Mr. Hellboy has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with the collectible trading card, bio on the back, big red demon guy, although I will say, might be a little small, might be a little short, we'll see. But as far as actual accessories for the figure goes, he's got a fist hand, he's got an open hand, and he's got a cigar holding hand, which I am tempted to use, but I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. That said, he's got, well, it was a pointy finger, but I use a hairdryer and warmed it up so I can make it a trigger finger. We got his gun, which I believe is called Big Baby, which does go in the holster on his belt there. Then we also have an alternate hand of Doom, which is in a more open grip. I suppose you could put something in there, but what? I don't know. That said, I thought there was supposed to be some flame effect for this, but it wasn't in the box, so I don't know if I got screwed or what, but it was in the promo images, so I don't know what's up with that. But at any rate, he also comes with a hockey puck display stand we're using with all McFarlane Toys releases, and a soft goods coat, which is that spandexy material. It's not like super thick, but it's not super thin either, and he does actually have the shorter sleeves. They almost look like they had cuffs, but I guess they don't. But I suppose you could roll them up and give them cuffs if you want. But, wow, he looks just like the artwork. Very impressive. This is all new sculpt, which is nice to see from McFarlane because, well, the DC line is coming to an end and there's a lot of reuse in that. But Hellboy here is 100% new. And that is awesome. So, as far as his articulation goes, his head can look up and down pretty well. He can tilt, he can rotate, shoulders pop out, back down, rotate all around, beautiful butterfly rotator cap, bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, which if we get the sleeve out of the way, I can crunch that up all the way. There you go. A little chunky, but it is what it is. And then of course he has the ball hinge wrist that will rotate, hinge, and of course swivel. I might need to heat this hand up again, but oh well. Torso can rotate around, you can lean back a little bit, you can lean forward a little bit. You can go back to being tight, that would be nice. There we go. He also has a waist twist. That works pretty well. I'd argue a little better than the diaphragm joint, which I might need to do my heat trick to get that back to where it was. The holster can open. I guess I will pop this in there for the time being. It's kind of a chore to get this in here. Once you do it enough, you kind of start to get the hang of it. But it's just at a weird angle. There we go. And then this will snap into this down here. There you go. There's his gun in the holster. I think I need to hit this with some heat and get this warped down, because it's kind of sticking up a little bit, at least for me. As far as the hips go, he can kick out forward and back. He's got a thigh cut, double knee, very tight in the knees. Ooh. Then he's got a ball hinge foot that'll rotate, hinge, pivot. I had to loosen this up a little bit with some heat, but it works okay now. And he even has toe hinge on his little hoofs. So, a very nice figure. I forgot to mention, this arm has the same articulation as the left arm. It's just this is a swivel. Probably tell by the alternate hand that it was just going to be a swivel, but figured I'd point it out. And nothing in the tail, no bendy wire, no rotation. I thought they would have at least put a rotation in there, but I guess not. But a very nice figure. If you don't have the boss fight one pre-ordered, or you just don't want to spend the extra money on this character, which, why wouldn't you? But, I don't know. Hellboy's one of my favorite characters, so I'm more than willing to spend that cheddar to get that boss fight one. But if you just want a Hellboy that's pretty in scale with most things, then this is a good pickup. At least I think so. You can do a lot worse for 35 bucks. I mean, this is a brand new sculpt, which doesn't always justify the price, but in this case it does. This is a brand new sculpt. It's a decent sculpt on top of that. And he comes with plenty of accessories. He comes with more accessories than some collector editions, so that's a plus. Well, that being said, it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's good old Hellboy, alongside a couple other McFarlane figures. We have a Batman from the DC Multiverse line. This is Hush 2 Batman, a Batman that, well, I'm guessing a lot of people really like and would most likely display with a figure like Hellboy. That said, this body buck has always been a little bit on the tall side, so maybe something on the Nightfall body would scale better with Hellboy, but I digress. That said, we also have the Elite Edition Spawn. And if I'm not mistaken, Hellboy and Spawn should be like the same height, right? Spawn's a little taller. A little bit. Not like a whole head taller, but tall enough to notice. And not for nothing, like, Hellboy should be like a brick shite house. And he's not. And while I personally don't care, I could see how a lot of people would. So, again, I think he will probably scale better with Marvel Legends, which is probably a good move on McFarlane's part, because I think the boss fight one might be a little smaller than this, and if that's the case, then that's not really going to scale with much of anything, but we'll see. We'll see when that one comes out, how it scales with this one. And let me know if you want me to do a comparison, or a versus, if you will, in the style of the late, great Glenn Webb, of the boss fight Hellboy and this McFarlane one, because that's something I'd be willing to try. Haven't done it yet on this channel. Did it on the old one, but not here. Getting these two out of the way. So we could bring in our two regulars. Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulith, which I do expect Hellboy to scale with pretty decently. Yeah, he's a little taller. Then we have the infamous Spawn, who seems a hair taller, but that could be my senses playing tricks on me. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and as I mentioned earlier, if you're not willing to shell out the extra dinero for the Boss Fight Studios version of good old Hellboy here, then this McFarlane Collector Edition one is, in my opinion, enough to fill that void. It comes with the gun, it's got some extra hands, it's even got an extra hand of doom. The only thing it doesn't have is the effect piece that I saw in the promo images. I don't know if maybe mine's missing that, or it was never supposed to have one in the first place, but I swear I saw one. But maybe that comes with the Platinum Chase, which I hope I can find. I really hope this makes it to retail and isn't some fan channel exclusive thing, so I can get that chase, because it's been marked up, no pun intended, to hell and back, and I'm not willing to spend that cheddar. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.